Regulatory ecosystem in banking, Federal Reserve, which is known as the Fed, and SEC, which stands for Security and Exchange Commission. Why we need to know about them? As banking is heavily regulated industry. Banking operates under some of the strictest oversight of any sector. Violations led to fines, operational restrictions, and lasting reputational damage. So the two major regulatory bodies are the Fed, which is known as Federal Reserve System, which actually oversees banking stability, interest rates, and money supply. SEC, which regulates the financial markets and protects investors and ensures fair and transparent trading. Let's see the responsibilities in detail. So, firstly, the Fed, which controls the the financial stability, inflation, and ensures smooth functioning of the banking system. So, responsibilities are the monetary policy. That means the Fed will control the interest rates. So, if there is high inflation in a country, or especially US, then Fed would increase up the interest rates so that less number of people will be able to take up the loan, and and the money flowing would be limited in that country for a particular period, which will decrease up the inflation. If the growth, so let's say I'm taking another scenario wherein if the growth in the country is low, then Fed would decrease up the interest rate so that more and more people will be able to take up the loans, and because of which money will flow into the country, and it will boost up the economy. Next is bank supervision, regulating the banks, uh, m- or I could say the monitoring the banks so that failures could be prevented, which might would lead to a big financial failure in the system. Payment system. So Fed would ensures that payments between the banks would be smooth. SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, which protects the financial markets and regulates the securities. So key responsibilities for the SEC are the regulating the securities, that is, the companies who would be listing those securities or selling those securities, such as stock, bonds, or mutual funds. They need to abide by all the laws and regulations set up by the SEC. Disclosure requirements. So companies need to publish their financial information, that is either quarterly and annually. They need to provide the information to the investors. Market surveillance. So SEC will ensure that the insider trading does not happen, and they detect fraud as well. And now let's see a clear comparison between the two. So Fed focus area is banking system and economy, whereas for SEC it is financial markets. Fed key role is monetary policy, that meaning increasing and decreasing up the interest rates and liquidity, whereas SEC key role is investor protection and they impact trading and disclosures. So example could be Fed would be keeping control of the loan rates, and SEC would be uh, regulating the stock market. So Fed actually guides lending and SEC would governs the capital, and that's how they work together. Now let's take a real life scenario. Firstly, the bank will provide the loan to the borrowers, meaning the loan terms and interest rates, which are directly influenced by Fed policies. And next is business will expand using borrowed capital, preparing for a public market entry. And then company will raise via IPO, which is regulated by SEC. So their disclosures, filings, and market conduct all would be regulated by SEC. So as a BA, we need to focus on various system which are regulated by Fed and SEC. So first is loan system, which is actually regulated by Fed. So interest rate change. So as a BA, we need to keep our focus on interest rate changes driven by Fed policy. Then is the risk system. So we need to focus on capital requirements from Fed, um, such as how much money, how much percentage of money could be landed to the borrowers from a bank, or maybe the minimum capital that should be there uh, to provide liquidity to the customers. Next is trading systems, so which is regulated by SEC, which governs trade execution, surveillance, and flagging of suspicious activity. Reporting system. So as a BA, um, we need to make sure that we'll be providing the um, financial reporting pipelines to SEC.